Well, first and foremost, I mean, we are nearing the end of this season. So just describe some of the thoughts that have gone through your mind this season, knowing that what you had planned, and then as this season has progressed and gone along, what are some of the thoughts that have gone through your mind about wrapping up this career?
Well, Jason, what I'm trying to do, of course, tonight, these are pressure games like with Mars Hill. And, if you don't win, it's over with. And, today, and just like usually when we get this time of year, you just run your game plan through your mind over and over again, where when something pops up, hopefully you've got the right answer for it. So that's just the way it's been all my life, especially this time of year, because it's a lot of pressure especially on the kids. And but I really feel good about this group because they've got so much experience in knowing how to handle big games. They've won regional championships and state championships, so I always feel confident in my team.
Well, yeah, in your team, but I mean, on yourself. What again?
Well, I'll say this: I've probably put a lot of pressure on myself this year because it's my last year, and I want to go out with a state title so bad. And I tell the girls, I've won them, but the biggest thing is I want them to have that because I tell them that's something that'll stay with you the rest of your life. I mean, and that can't be taken away from you.
Well, going along that line, that's one of the things I wanted to ask. You came here in 1985.
No, it was 83, 84.
It was 83, 84, I'm sorry. Well, then you won your first state championship.
1987.
What lessons did you learn from winning that first state championship that have stuck with you through the years?
Well, when I was at Tremont, that's something you got to look at. Girls basketball back down there in the 70s was, competitive. You know what I'm saying? And because Mississippi never dropped girls basketball. They've been playing it for 100 years. And they just started back in Alabama around 75 or 76. And when I came to Red Bay, my best season at Tremont, we won 26 games and lost 14. We played 40 games a year. And we made an appearance in 1977 in the state tournament. We got beat the first game by Topeka Tilton by one. But what I'm saying is, girls basketball, Alabama, back at that time, Alabama girls basketball was no comparison to, So I felt that was an advantage for me. And then I knew what I was getting into here at Red Bay. That when I came, the previous 2 seasons they had losing seasons. And and what I'm saying is I learned a lot of tough lessons in Mississippi that helped me in Alabama. For the first, I'm gonna say 4 or 5 years over here, it was no problem for me to win 20 games because the competition wasn't as good. It was simple.
Sure.
But what has really, I can't believe how good it is now. I mean, it's unreal. These Alabama, especially Northwest Alabama, we're probably the strongest girls basketball in the state, no doubt about it.
Well, that actually goes forward. I had this list and I wanted to go through it, but you know what? We're dancing all over it, and that is totally fine. You talk about that. What do you think? Are there specific things that you can think of that you can pinpoint and you can say, well, this has changed in the game, or this has changed in the game? How has the game changed, and what has led to that change since you started?
That's a real good question. I've seen a lot of changes in girls basketball. See, the first girls basketball game I ever seen in my life was in about 1963, and they were playing 3 guards, 3 standing guards, and 3 standing forwards, playing 6 players, and those players couldn't cross the half-court line. 3 of them. Yeah. They played defense the whole game. Their job was to get the rebound and get it across half court to the forwards, to the girls that could score. And then the first year I coached at Houston Junior High School, that was my first job, they had gone to this rover route. You still played with 6 players, but you had 2 standing guards, 2 standing forwards, and 2 rovers that could play full court. You talking about a confusing game. And, you know, that stayed with us on a number of years. And then, you know, they made a transition to 5-on-5. Now, when that happened, those girls that had been playing a guard position all their life, they didn't know how to shoot a basketball. They had to be taught how to play an offense then. And then, you know, I've had so many great coaches that, you know, that I've learned from. You know, one of them was Malcolm Kirkendall. You know, back in my early career, we played a lot of zone defenses, what have you. And Malcolm told me one day, he said, Donnie, when you start playing man-to-man defense, you're going to start winning more games. And that was true. You know, a lot of times as a coach, you try man-to-man and it didn't work out for you. You know, you just try, but you know, you have to make that commitment to it. That's one of the biggest things that we've built this Red Bay basketball program on is our man-to-man defense. We play that. You won't see us in the zone unless we're running a zone press or something. And you know, there's no doubt in my mind that's the best defense in basketball. But what you're saying too is, and you know, the game is like any other game, football or anything. It has changed dramatically over the years. You know, when the 3-point line came in, that made a big, you know, that gave the little guy a chance. If that makes sense to you.
It does.
But now, you know, there's just so many dribble, drive, penetration offenses, and I'll tell you, you know, I'd gotten to the point where I was getting a little bit behind, and then my son-in-law John Trisky came along, and look, he has helped us so much. I mean, with me keeping up with the game.
Well, that yeah, I wondered about that. Just what had changed. I don't think I realized there was that much difference between Mississippi ball and Alabama ball. But
well, there, you know, like I said, there was. Now we're on, you know, we're on equal footing. Here's the thing that I see today, Jason, is your smaller schools in Mississippi are better than the ones in Alabama. Now your bigger schools in Alabama that's got athletes.
Well, now there again, you've led into something else I wanted to ask. I'm not going to ask you about specific players or specific people, but talk a bit about the level of talent that you've had here through the years. Small community, but it seems like we've had a lot of talent come through these doors. How do you think that's been key to your success? And how did you go about developing the students that you've had come through these doors?
Well, you know, you can't win the Kentucky Derby with a mule. You got to have a racehorse. You know, we've been fortunate to always have a couple of good players, and two, at a small school like Red Bay, you have to coach. I mean, I can't ever say that we just had 5 unstoppable players, but I'll tell you the thing that we've done at Red Bay is that we've always played team basketballs. That the 5 people we got out there can play together. There's never been a number 1 player, you know, and the kids, they buy into that, and you know, that's the reason we've had success.
Well, and I think that speaks a lot to the success you've had. So you, of course, you're a Hall of Fame coach. You're the I'm going to rattle off some things here that you may say I don't really want to talk about that, but I mean, see, you're a Hall of Fame coach. You're the winningest high school basketball coach in Alabama. You've got almost 900 career wins. Was there a time early on when you thought these accomplishments were going to be possible? Was it something you set out with as a goal?
I'll tell you what, Jason, that never entered my mind, you know, and I don't know why God chose to bless me like He did, but you know, I give Him credit for all that. And you know, I never thought about that. I mean, in fact, when I came to Red Bay, I mean, I kept up my record at Tremont. I had 142 wins down there and 127 losses. That wasn't a great record, you know. And then, you know, I came to Red Bay and we started piling up the wins. And Max South was coaching here. And he had a brother, John, that helped him some. And, you know, one day, John, he started taking interest in my record. And before I knew it, I had 200 wins. And then, you know, I guess that's when we started keeping up with it. But, you know, I've got every year recorded, and but I never dreamed that I'd have the honor that I've had. I mean,
did you have any mentors in your early career?
oh yeah, a
people you looked up to?
lot of my high school coaches. Whole Payne, you know, he's gone now. I played for him at Tremont, and he was the most wonderful basketball coach ever. He took us to the state tournament in 1964, and we weren't worth a flip. It was all off his coaching, you know. And I learned a lot from him as far as, you know, I've been known to hold the ball and four-corner offense. That's the way Coach Payne. He was just disciplined. You didn't run up and down the floor wild and crazy. There's a lot of times if we got the tip in the game, he'd hold the ball right then, and what he would do, he'd make the other team play his game.
Makes a lot of sense.
And then I had Coach Dennis White, and he's still living, and I hadn't talked to him since 1977. Well, we were in a shootout over in Mississippi a couple of weeks ago, and he played it. Well, he was from the East Union area, and I was talking to their coach. I said, "Do you happen to know Dennis White?" He said, "He's here today. His granddaughter's playing for East Union." And I said, "He is." And I was so excited, and I just wanted to see him. And they come find out he wasn't there, so I said, "I got to have his number." And I called him, you know, and I touched base with him, and it was just, you know, it was good talking to him. So, you know, those two men, I can't tell you what an impact they had in my lives. And then, you know, just being around great coaches, Malcolm Kirkendall, you know, I've learned a lot from him. Brant Llewellyn, one of the very best coaches in Alabama, and, you know, that's where you learn from.
So you've gone from having mentors to actually being a mentor, being someone. Coach Higginbottom at Belmont has mentioned you.
Man.
What does it mean to you to have gone from looking up to people to being one to whom people look up?
Well, it's just like Chris, you know, I want to do all I can do to help them, you know. That's what I want to do when I retire, you know. If I can ever help a young coach, I'll gladly share with them. That's just, you know, when you're coaching, you don't share everything with the enemy.
No, you got to hold something close to
coaching it's just a wonderful profession, and you know, and I'm willing to help anybody.
Now, you've said in the past that you did not plan on coming to Red Bay in the beginning.
Yeah.
What was it in that fourth phone call that changed your mind?
Well, you know, Jason, I tried to describe that in the paper, right? You know, it was, I'll tell you what, it was the hardest decision that I've ever had to make in my life. And, cause see, I was on solid ground at Tremont. I could have stayed there, and we were doing well. You know, it wasn't that, and I don't know, one day, you know, I got that phone call, and I thought, well, I'm just going to just go up there and talk to him. And I had no intention. You know, I thought, well, I'll at least learn how to, if I ever get in a tight, fill out a resume and interview for a job. And I came up here, and you know, I met with the local board, and you know, Mr. Seegers was our principal then, and Jimmy Raper was on that board, and Kelly Moore, and Bob Tiffin. You know, they had a local board, and I interviewed with all of them. And you know, one reason, I said this in the paper the other day, that year was the year that Malcolm Kirkendall came to Belmont, and we had beaten them. I think that made what got their attention. But you know, I knew that these girls weren't going to be as solid as what I've been, you know, coaching. And so, you know, I just, one day I'd be wanting to come, next day, and Janet, I had her all for me, and she was wanting me to come, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, just that day I was sitting out in Mother's front yard, I told him not to call him again, and I was sitting out there in a patio swing. I said, "You fool, why'd you tell them not to call you?" And it was like a miracle. They called me that day. And Jimmy Raper and Mr. Seegers, they said, "We're fixing to come to your house." And that's when they hired me.
And you've not looked back.
No, I am, but Jason, best thing that ever happened to me in my life.
So you got your start in Houston.
Yeah.
And now where was that?
It was in Itawamba County, and it's closed down now, but it was
Yeah.
just a little school above Manatee. And I've got so many memories of that first year coaching over there. Look, I'm young, 22 years old, wearing them high heel shoes, back in those days, long hair. And I was so excited to get, and I'll tell you what, Jason, I didn't think I was going to get a job. I mean, I had applied all over Mississippi. I mean, I'd gone down to the teachers meeting in Jackson or wherever, put in applications, and it wasn't looking good. There just wasn't no openings. Well, Houston just did that. And look here, they had 150 kids in the whole school. That's counting a Head Start program.
Wow.
And they just went to the 8th grade. See, all the other Itawamba County schools, Fulton, Fairview, Tremont, Manatee, all 9th grade classes. So, your junior high teams, when you played them, you just had 7th and 8th graders. And when I went down there that year, when it came time to schedule those teams, I said, y'all go ahead and play your 9th graders. And my junior high boys, we got the #1 seed in the county tournament that year. I'm telling you, they were just those tough logger sons. I mean, and I had an excellent 5th and 6th grade team. We got runner-up in the county tournament that year. Of course, see, Fulton is such a bigger school, and Dorsey used to be something in basketball. You had to play all them. But that year, I taught about 5 classes out of my field. I had to go to school at night to be able to teach. I took classes over Tupelo through the Ole Miss branch. I drove a school bus, coached 4 ball teams. And when I got over there, I'll never forget, I was so excited to get to coach and do my own thing. And I asked our principal, Mr. Green, I said, "Where's the kids' uniforms at?" And he said, "Well, they're down in the gym, in the dressing room." And Jason, I walked down there, and I walked in the dressing room, and there lay the uniforms in the floor, all stained, and we had wooden backboards in the gym. I just marched right back up there. I said, "No wonder y'all can't win the game down here, dressing those kids out in that garbage down there." And I'll tell you what we did. Those kids, we hauled hay for the big farmers up there. We brought new uniforms. We put new glass backboards in the gym. We did it right.
It made them appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
So, if you could go back to, you said 22 years old, if you could go back to tell that Coach Roberts something then, what would you tell him?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
I told you I thought through these
Well,
things.
you know what, I was probably a better coach then because I believed things would work. Sometimes I just believe we couldn't be beat.
Right.
But after I got my tail whipped a few times, that sort of changed.
Well, it probably brought in some humility that was needed. Okay. Are there any other games?
I'll tell you this, going back to that question, Jason, it'd be a good answer. Me and Coach Higginbottom was talking about this the other day, but I have with several coaches. I would advise any young coach, don't coach varsity basketball in your first year. Coach junior high, and then you need to sit on the bench with a good coach. That's what I missed. But I would advise anybody to do that.
So there's definitely value.
Oh,
as you said, you were excited. It was your first job. You wanted to get out there and coach, but there is that value in basically apprenticing. Okay. So, well, I mean, of course, you've discussed your time there at Houston. Are there any other moments or achievements that, or games that hold a special place in your memory or a special place in your heart?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had so many, you know, not to talk about the ones that I've had my heart ripped out a bunch of times. Matter of fact, 360 times. I mean, I've had losses that I'd lose a week's sleep over. I'm not as bad now as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But in those early years, I could not stand losing. It still does today to some extent. It just makes you physically sick, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
winning's just like, it's like good medicine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and of course I've had some unbelievable games. I'll tell you one of the ones that stick out the most in my mind. You said that we were when I was at Tremont, we were playing. Fulton had an invitational tournament. It was us and Belmont, and Coach Payne, my high school coach, was coaching at Belmont. And you know, people at Tremont, some of my former teammates and stuff said, "You're not going to beat him," you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we beat Belmont, put them out of the tournament, and then we get Fulton in the championship game. Golly, they had a good team. They were athletic. Of course, my sister Robin played in that team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we played in 4 quarters, and we're tied, and we've got the ball, and the clock's running out. Well, one of their best athletes, she steals a pass, and she's headed to the other end, got an uncontested layup.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister Robin ran her down, and she left the floor, Jason, and got up and blocked her shot, and her knee hit up high on the wall. She just bounced back on the floor. And she's just in agony and pain, so I run out there, and so she's got to come out of the game now. So now we go into overtime, and I don't have her. And anyway, it winds up that they're 1 point ahead, and there's not 5 seconds left in the game. Wow. And I called timeout, and I told the girls, I said, I don't know why, but we're fixing to win this game. Now, it's their ball, mm-hmm. and they've got to go the length of the court. And I had a little old guard, about 5'3", Nancy Wigginton, on that team, and I had Rhonda Horn play for me. She was a small guard. So I called timeout. I had Vicki Shambley and Joyce Mobley. Vicki is 5'11", Joyce is probably 6 foot tall. They were big girls. Mm-hmm. I put both of them on the inbounder. Mm-hmm. The girl making the inbounds pass, and one of them tipped it. And it came to Rhonda Horn. She was on the right wing. Mm-hmm. She caught the ball, and Robin, my sister, sitting next to him, and Rhonda, she was sitting missing. I told her, oh gosh, we're beat. And Nancy Wigginton, you couldn't even see her. She stuck that, she got the rebound and stuck that ball in at the buzzer. One of the most unbelievable wins ever. We beat on their own floor.
Oh, that's fantastic. Have you had a game since then that compared?
I'll tell you, that had to be one of the most exciting ones we've had. You know, here lately we ain't had that many just nail biters. Mm-hmm. But that game, you know, all you said, that's the first one that popped in my mind. And not to say we hadn't had some other close ones, but that one did in particular just came to my mind.
So what's kept you in the game all these years?
I'll tell you what, I think it's me and the girls and everybody. It's the game itself. You know, just love of the game. You know, basketball, it don't owe you anything. You know, and that's basically it.
What are you going to miss the most?
I don't know, Jason. I don't know. I'm gonna miss a lot of things. Not you know, being around kids every day, and you know, that's the satisfaction that I get out of it is seeing them be successful. And I love for other people to say good things about it. We've had a program here that we can be proud of. You know, character in class, played hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you know, I want, you know, all these girls I coach, I love to see them become successful in life.
Yeah. Well, and you've had opportunities to see a lot of that
Oh, we've
happen.
had outstanding players and that became successful in every area of life.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I tell the girls, I hope that I've been a positive influence on them, you know, when they meet challenges that they know. I think that's the good thing about sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're not going to win every game.
No.
You're going to have those losses. And what you learn from that loss is what makes the difference.
That's it.
So, after the season ends, what awaits you?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jason, I'm excited about it. I'm just gonna, you know, I don't want to be tied down to nobody. And, you know, I've got 8 grandchildren that I'm gonna be chasing around, and, you know, I want to help. You know, how John and Lee are here, both of them teaching. You know, I want to be there for them, and you know, Laura Beth, my daughter up in Muscle Shoals, and Luke and Amy, and you know, we're gonna find some time to do some crop fishing, and then I'm just gonna let the Lord take His course with me.
Yeah. Hey, that's the best course to take.
Yeah.